Welcome to the mandatory post-fight show. We just saw the last crescendo and a great fight, great card, but we will be getting into everything. Before we get into all of that, remember to follow us on our social media channels. We're at the mandatory TKO. Also hit that like and subscribe button because it helps the channel grow, and we do appreciate you if you already have. He's getting on this Shakur thing. I like Shakur Stevenson. He's one of my favorite boxers, actually. I just wish he was more entertaining. So if he fought Floyd Schofield, like, I would have been very zoned into the fight. But this was him against Josh Padley. And I did not care because I knew what Shakur had to do. I love that he came out to against all odds. I love that he got the stoppage against Padley. That was what he was supposed to do. But like, it wasn't the fight that had the most cachet. Right. And I'm not going to lie, like, for some strange reason, I was really tired and I did nap through rounds 3 through 7. And I woke up and then I ended up seeing him get the stoppage in the 9th round. So, I mean, it's fine.
Yeah. I'll say this, like, Shakur, he did what he had to do. Some people still wanted more. And it was like Josh Padley was taking some of these punches, which I think probably says more about Josh Padley's toughness. And, Shakur ended up getting a stoppage, like, whatever. Like, that's kind of it. Like, we want to see Shakur in a big fight. I want to see him against Tank. I don't know if that's going to happen. Tank tweeted out LOL after watching the fight.
Yo, but you know what? Let's give Shakur some props because he took some chances today. Like,
he was against a guy with 4 knockouts. Yeah, against a guy with 4 knockouts. Who's a full-time electrician. Yes.
He had to, though, because if he didn't do that and he was fighting too safe, then I would definitely be hating. Steven says Shakur's fights are good for bathroom and kitchen breaks.
I think Shakur is like one of the most talented guys in the sport.
For sure.
I just want to see him fight adequate level competition and in an interesting way. The adequate level competition part is not totally his fault because there are guys who have apparently ducked him to some extent. It feels like we could have gotten him versus William Zepeda multiple times. And William Zepeda's over here, messing around with Tevin Farmer and barely beating him, getting knocked down by Tevin Farmer. And now they're having the rematch for that fight in Mexico, where it's like, oh, we want to really make sure William Zepeda gets to retain his interim title so that he could eventually fight Shakur Stevenson. It's like, what are we doing?
Just fight
doesn't
Shakur.
make sense. Just fight Shakur. Just fight Shakur. Like,
so Adam Hurley says, I was hoping for Padley to KO Shakur. Padley took some big shots and stood in there, man. You got to give him some props.
I'll watch Padley again. Padley was fun. I'll watch him again.
He was entertaining from what I saw when I didn't fall asleep.
And I'll say this too, like, I wasn't too interested in Shakur versus Floyd Schofield because I felt like he was just gonna outbox him, and
he was. But I mean, Schofield's like a young guy coming up. So I was interested in that fight. I was very interested in that fight, but I felt like Shakur would have dominated him. Marlon 2631 says the Shakur hate is insane. Adam Hurley says you'll have to tell me how someone can be a Shakur fan someday, Shantelle. Listen, there's a lot of Shakur fans out there. The thing about it, he has such a high IQ. He's so skilled. One of the things in boxing, when you go box and you get a trainer, what's the main thing, right? You want to throw punches and hit people, but you don't want to get hit. Like, you're not supposed to get hit. That's the whole point of it. But I think for Shakur, the issue is that he's so tactical and he's so skilled. And like, when he actually boxes, it's beautiful. Like, he's a true technician. But in the business that he's in, it's entertainment. So if you're not giving us an entertaining fight where you're, knocking out dudes or throwing a lot of punches and the work rate is high, that takes away viewership sometimes, because that's what, a casual fan might want to see. For me, I've never wanted a knockout. Like, I've never been a fan that wants a knockout. So I do like Shakur's style. I just wish he would let his hands go a little bit more. And just remember, guys, like, this was kind of a knock back in the day on Devin Haney, where they were like,
Floyd Mayweather too.
Right. That,
Floyd
about this all the time.
Andre Ward too. Yeah.
And so that's kind of why when we talk about Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson, I've always kind of been more on Devin's side, because Devin takes a little bit more chances in getting hit. Like, even the Loma fight, like, he fought his ass off in that fight. Right. But before, Devin would play it safe, and he used to kind of have like the same shoulder roll as Floyd and not get hit a lot. So it just depends what type of boxing that you like. But Shakur is, I think you could argue, he's one of the most talented and best boxers in the game right now. I'd be down. So yeah. Steven, if Tank lands on Shakur like Padley did, the viewers won't be the only ones taking a siesta. This
is what I'm worried about, because I think the world of Shakur's talent. But if Tank hits him in round 8 with one of those uppercuts, like how does he respond? Like he's never been hit the way Tank could hit him. I don't even know if it's been close. Like he's been in there with Oscar Valdez and Edwin De Los Santos, and I don't think any of them staggered him the way Gervonta Davis may. So I have questions about that too. I think he could, yes, he could do all the, Gervonta Davis has said this, when you do all that boxing shit, how much does it really matter if you can't hurt somebody? They're paraphrasing, but that's basically what he said. And it's like, yeah, you kind of have a point, because this is why I thought for years Deontay Wilder would beat Anthony Joshua. It's like, yeah, Anthony Joshua will outbox him for 8 rounds, and then in the 9th round, Deontay Wilder will just catch him. And Gervonta Davis can do the same thing, except he also has boxing ability, a lot of it. He's very smart. He's not going to let you just do the same shit you do to Josh Padley and Edwin De Los Santos and Robson Conceição and all these guys. Like, Gervonta Davis is also a thinker in the ring. Like, yeah, you'll win the first couple rounds against him. You'll feel good about yourself. But once he kicks it into that gear in the middle of the fight, no one's been able to stop him yet.
No, and I think that makes for a really interesting fight. And that's the thing. I don't feel like Shakur has been crazy tested yet. I don't think so. I think Oscar Valdez was a very good fight. But I just think for Shakur Stevenson, when you take a look at his resume, who's really hurt him? It's never happened. And so and the thing is, people don't talk about Tank's skill enough. We just talked about Artur Beterbiev, because these guys are 2 of the greatest knockout artists of this generation. Tank is skilled. He sets traps. And whether it's a body shot or an uppercut, you're going to feel his power. He doesn't throw as much, but when he does, it's accurate. And that's the thing about Tank that doesn't get discussed enough. So I think that's the fight that we all want. And we said we weren't going to stay on Shakur for a long time. So I think we should move on now, Brian, to
one more
Virgil
thing.
Ortiz.
One more thing. Just real quick. What's next for Shakur Stevenson? Do you think it's William Zepeda?
It should be Zepeda, but I want to know when Loma's coming back. Because I still think that's a good fight for Shakur to take, because Loma will make it interesting.
I think Keyshawn Loma, because of the top rank piece.
I don't want that.
Would happen first.
They're just feeding Loma to everybody now.
Well, I don't know if that's a feed. I don't know if Keyshawn wins that fight.
Yo, from what I saw from Keyshawn in his last fight, I'm sold.
Against a very different level opponent than even Loma is now.
Yeah.
I think Keyshawn would be the betting favorite, but
it would be a tough fight. But I just feel like I feel like I'm a true believer in Keyshawn after his last fight.
Okay.
100%. That was very, very impressive to me. So I don't want to see Loma just get fed to the wolves at this point in his career. And I think that's why Loma's also taking a break. So we'll see what happens. But I would love to see Shakur Stevenson against Lomachenko. I'd like to see Tank against Loma. But we'll see if Zepeda ends up fighting Shakur. I think that's a very interesting fight. Or maybe he does fight Schofield just later.
Maybe. That's true, too. Zepeda fights Tevin Farmer next month in Cancun. So assuming he wins that, Shakur versus Zepeda, I mean, you could do that late summer, fall, something along those lines.